Hello anybody and welcome back to Let's Play Super Mario RPG. I'm Mr. Devious, or just Deeb, and you might be asking yourself, Mr. Devious, you beat this game in the last episode. What are you doing back here at the entrance to Smithy's factory? Well, first things first, we're gonna hop on out of here. Because yes, I did beat the game in the last episode, and I never showed this off, but you can get out of the factory and you can go back in whenever you please, and the world is also made into a big circle if you want to get around. But for today's episode, we're not really going to be talking about maps, because we're going to be going back to Monstro Town for the last thing to take care of in this game. First things first, let's use a save thing so we don't get teleported all the way back into the factory if we die, which is actually very likely. So yeah, first things first, what you want to do is when you're in Moleville, you want to get the shiny stone by trading the fireworks to the little girl, and then you'll find this door in Monstro Town, which you'll remember is locked. It's been sealed, but look, the shiny stone is reacting, and that breaks the seal. Now before I go in, I am going to mention that I have Toadstool and Mallow in my party, because Geno and Bowser got to take the reins in the last episode, and for equipment I just put the ghost medal on Mallow, because he could use the extra defense. He's kind of a fluff ball. But anyway, you head into this door, and we're in some kind of void. You look out of place, mister.
Greetings. I am Culex, Dark Knight of Vanda. I have crossed into this dimension to fight for the Dark Mage. But this world is uninhabitable for me and my kind. I must return to my own world. Before I go, though, I would like to challenge your strongest knight. Will you accept my challenge? You will enter combat against me.
Yes.
On guard! I am matter. I am antimatter. I can see your past. I can see your future. I consume time. And I will consume you.
So here we have the bonus boss of Super Mario RPG, Culex. Very definitely and very obviously a Final Fantasy inspired boss. He does not appear in any actual Final Fantasy game, but with his 4 crystals, the boss music from Final Fantasy IV, and, you know, his still sprite that isn't actually animated aside from moving up and down, he is definitely from Final Fantasy. I mean, if you've played any Final Fantasy game on the Super Nintendo, you can immediately identify this. He's got the 4 crystals, as is determined, that is in basically every Final Fantasy game. And that's basically it. Each of these crystals has very powerful magic, including Culex himself. This is an extremely hard fight, and we're going to open up by using Super Flame. We're actually going to open up by using Ultra Flame, with a focus on the Water Crystal. The Water Crystal is weak to fire, of all things. The Wind Crystal on the right is weak to jumping. The Yellow Crystal, which is the Earth Crystal, is weak to thunder. And the Fire Crystal is weak to ice, I'm pretty sure. There's a fly in my room, and I want it to go away. But yes, there are so many ways this can go. And I'm actually kind of concerned that I'm going to lose. I'm doing this at level 22. It is possible, very reasonable to do it at that level, but it is definitely challenging. I brought Mallow in because he needs a turn too, and let's use, well, first off, let's see what Star Rain can do against this guy. Because you're going to get a turn. He's not particularly fast, so you will get a turn to just kind of attack him, unless you fight him at the first opportunity, in which case you're probably going to die, and then he's going to get turns for everybody. Peach, with the safety ring, is thankfully immune to most magic attacks, but not all of them. And as you can see, Flame Wall, that did quite a bit of damage. Each of these crystals has a ton of different moves of their respective elements that you need to watch out for. And the Earth Crystal in particular, which is 3200 HP, has the most dangerous magic for you to worry about. Flame Stone, that does a lot of damage, and Mario's already dead. The Wind Crystal doesn't have much HP, but it does get multiple turns, because that's just the way it is. We're going to be using Comeback on Mario to bring him back into the game. Get up, Mario, you're not done. But you're going to be spending a lot of time healing in this fight, and without Peach in your party, this fight is incredibly difficult. Like, insanely so. Even with Peach in your party, It just takes, like, a bad combination of moves. There is a luck factor in this move if Culex will use a certain set of moves or not that will kill you pretty easily, because he does have the most powerful spells in the game on his crystals. And if he chooses to use those all in a row, you're dead. You're as good as dead. Storm, dangerous. Very dangerous. Shredder. Shredder, which we actually saw in the fight against Smithy, will take off any buffs you've put on your party members, so that's something you definitely need to watch out for. I think I actually still have the froggy drinks I bought in the last episode because the game doesn't save after you beat it, but anyway, I might as well show off the Lazy Shell, which I put on specifically for this fight, and to show it off, Lazy Shell is Mario's most powerful weapon. It is 20 points stronger than the Ultra Hammer, and I didn't use it because it's too powerful to use normally. But for this fight, I think it felt only appropriate because we are against the ultimate optional boss, who is harder than Smithy himself, I do believe. But, you know, Shocker, let's use Shocker on the Earth Crystal, because why not? I'm not using the Lazy Shell piece of armor because then that would make this too easy, but for the wrong reasons. The Lazy Shell armor drastically increases your defenses, but in that case, it would make things way too easy, as I just said, basically. Mario's dead. Mario's dead as hell. Now, Culex himself does have Flame Stone. He also has Dark Star and a very high physical attack if he chooses to use it. Oh no, Petal Blast. This is the one you kind of want to watch out for, because as you can see, Mallow is now a mushroom. Great. Great Mallow, just great. But now that I've basically shown off everything there is to see about Culex and his crystals, we're actually going to have to start focusing on killing them. If you kill Culex himself, who has a little bit over 4,000 HP, all of the crystals will pop and you'll immediately win. But that's kind of the really easy way of doing it, and I don't want to take the easy route of doing things. So I'm going to be taking out these crystals one by one, even though that's going to take a while. This is a long fight, no matter how you cut it. Unless you have, like, ridiculously, insanely high attack or something. And Peach is dead. That's bad. We need to get her back up. We need Peach in our party. As for the order in what you want to deal with these crystals, if you don't want to just go straight for Culex himself, your main priorities are going to be the Water Crystal and the Wind Crystal. They have the least HP of the four, particularly the Wind Crystal, and they have some of the deadliest magic that can just kind of screw you over pretty easily. Again, the Water Crystal is weak to fire, so I tend to go for that one first, and then the Wind Crystal usually doesn't use particularly powerful magic outside of Petal something. Petal something? Well, it uses Petal Dance? Was it Petal Dance? I think it was Petal Dance. Outside of that, though, it's not particularly threatening, and if you use attacks that hit the entire other team, it'll probably pop around the same time as the Water Crystal, so it's not that big of a deal. Your main focus should be on the Blue Crystal. Once you get rid of 2 crystals, this becomes much more manageable. However, he is getting his turn again. Diamond Saw, that's bad. Is that going to kill Peach? It's going to do a lot of damage to Peach. Drain, no big deal. We're getting pretty lucky, although Drain does do more damage than usual, and oh god. Now we're in trouble, because he's using Water Blast. Which, if you remember, oh, well that didn't do near as much damage as I thought it would. Right, it's not Water Blast you need to look out for. The main thing you need to look out for with the Earth Crystal is Boulder. If it uses Boulder, you're going to take extreme amounts of damage. And very infuriatingly, I wasn't able to attack because I had to take the time to restock my FP because I've been using so much, and 2 party members are asleep. That's just annoying. The Wind Crystal is the one that likes inflicting status effects, but again, it's not too much of a big deal, so it shouldn't be that much of a priority. Let's hit the Earth Crystal again. 384, lots of damage, and we're going to need lots of damage to take down the Earth Crystal because, again, it has the most HP, 3,200. Oh boy, that's bad. Corona, that's the move that killed me, that got me my first game over. Is it going to kill me here too? It's going to kill Mario. That's pretty good. Is that going to kill Mallow? Yeah, Mallow's dead. And Peach is still alive? How is this happening, even? Okay, we got to turn with Peach. I'm going to take this time to use a red essence on Toadstool, just as insurance, just to make sure that nothing bad happens to her, that she'll be able to survive this next onslaught of moves. Yeah, you just go through it all. I mean, I have the red essences, I may as well use them since they're in my party, and I'm not spamming them, I'm using them in a dedicated emergency. I feel it's justified for occasions like this one, where it's just, oh my god, he just decimates your whole freaking party. Now that we're back over to Peach, please, can we get back over to Peach? Please? So we can use comeback on Mario, please, thank you. There we go. And with that, our team is kind of sitting back up, but I'm hoping this turn doesn't turn into a cycle like it did in Geno's fight, or not Geno's, in the fight with Jinx, the last fight with Jinx, you remember that? How I just got into an infinite cycle of reviving and killing and killing and reviving? Thankfully, they all seem to be focusing on Peach on this turn, so that really helps. Shredder, of course, is useless if you don't use a Geno boost, so it's not really anything you need to worry about. Ultra Flame that water crystal. We should be getting close to destroying it. At least one of these crystals. And if we can get rid of that... green crystal, the wind crystal, that'll be nice too, because he's just so annoying. Come back on Mallow. Get back in the fight, Mallow. You're not done yet. There you go. Of course, it probably goes without saying that each crystal is immune to its own element, which in the wind crystal's case is lightning, and in the earth crystal's case is jump of all things. So that's interesting to know, in case you were curious. Star Rain, because Star Rain is just, it's fun to use. And, you know, it's a solid hit all on all of the crystals. And again, this is what you want to open it with. You want to kind of do a good amount of damage to all of the crystals before focusing on the earth crystal and the fire crystal. After you take out the wind crystal and the water crystal, I would say go after the fire crystal because it does have Corona and it is the less powerful of the, well, it is, like, has less HP than the earth crystal, and it also does have Corona, so that's pretty... It does have a couple more dangerous moves, even if the earth crystal is ultimately the more dangerous of the two. And Mario is dead again. He's dead as hell. Thankfully, Lightning Orb just doesn't really do anything to Mallow, who's a cloud man. I mean, it makes sense. He's made of clouds. What else would you expect? You can't strike a cloud with lightning. It does nothing. Come on, Mario. Get back in the fight. I believe in you. I believe you can do this. I think we actually do have a rock candy, which I would be willing to use. Gonna bust this rock candy. Same rock candy that I used in the fight against Smithy, but we still have it. There. The wind crystal is out. Our fight's already become a lot easier. Ice rock. Good God, that's so much damage. You're next, blue crystal. I mean, water crystal. You're going down next. Sandstorm's probably gonna kill Mario, unfortunately. For some reason, Mario's just has the worst luck here. And Meteor Blast. That's a bad move to see out of Culex. It does a lot of damage, as you just saw. Killed Mario again. So that's frustrating. But we're gonna get him back in the fight, because I swear to God, this is annoying. This is just kind of the cycle you're probably going to get into if you fight Culex, though, is you're going to get into a cycle of reviving and healing and reviving. Where is one of my Kiro Colas? I'm willing to use one of those. Just to keep everybody a little topped off. I'm willing to use that. And we got a freebie. Diamond Saw, thankfully, won't hurt, or it will hurt Peach for quite a bit of damage. Flame Wall, not much to worry about. A little bit of damage, a fair amount of damage, but not too much. God damn it, Sandstorm, stop using that. It's so annoying. Shredder, okay, we're fine. It's just Shredder. Culex himself is actually kind of the wild card in this fight. He can use, like, moves that kill your entire party, like Meteor Storm, or, like, say, a Dark Star, which I guess doesn't kill your entire party, but it usually kills somebody pretty reliably, or a physical attack, which again is really high when he chooses to use it. But other than that, I mean, he's not really that threatening if he uses just Shredder or Flamestone, especially because, I mean, he uses a lot of single target attacks, whereas the crystals tend toward attacks that hit your whole party and do a ton of damage. So he's not any more threatening than the crystals, and probably even less so. He just has a lot more HP than they do. Again, he has a really weird number, actually, that's not even rounded. Blue crystal is out. this is actually going really well, considering that this is my first take of this fight. If you can get out the wind crystal and the water crystal, it should be fairly easy from this point onward if you're all set up and ready to go, because they've already lost 3 turns of attacking between the water crystal and the wind crystal, so that's really nice. So now we're down to the fire crystal and the earth crystal. This should be taken care of fairly easily. Unfortunately, we still have fear on us, which is, again, really annoying. We're gonna go for that fire crystal, though. Gonna kick it for 120. I would really appreciate it if the earth crystal just stopped attacking. And actually, that's one strategy of fighting this guy, is if you're not quite ready for this fight, even if you just, like, if you fight this guy as soon as you can, if you are able to tank the hits for long enough, eventually the crystals will run out of FP and simply be totally unable to attack. So if you want to do that, I mean, you can. It's not a particularly interesting method, but it is a method. So yeah, those are your main methods of doing this fight. You can either take them out in a specific order from weakest to strongest, well, although I go water, wind, fire, earth, or you can go directly for Culex and try to end the fight that way, or you can tank the hits with, like, the lazy shell, or just pure metal, I guess. You can just tank the hits and all that, and then if that all works out and they run out of FP, then this fight's a breeze, because once the crystals run out of FP, they're completely useless to Culex, and you can just, they're non-threatening. Fun fact, the fire crystal is actually the icon they use in Fear Roulette, which was an attack we saw in Smithy's factory, which, if you will remember, was an insta-kill move, so that's a cool little reusage of assets right there. Mallow's dead. I'm surprised he didn't die sooner, although I'm pretty sure he did die at least once already. So far we got these 2 left. Fire crystal again, whatever. It's not gonna last a whole lot longer. Get back in the fight, Mallow. I'm so tired of reviving you. I mean, come on, man. The other key to this fight is, of course, patience, because of how much ridiculous HP this guy has and his crystals have. Between them, all combined, they have more HP than Smithy does in both of his forms combined. So there's something for you to keep in mind, viewers, that this guy has more HP and higher attack and is just all around harder. Which is kind of funny that the representative from the Final Fantasy games, which is completely different in every aesthetic, can just totally decimate your party, which I guess might be a commentary on the fact that they're just more brutal games, that they're harder games, or maybe they just wanted to have a bonus boss that harkens to their own series and is a cute tribute to that, so maybe that's all it is. That's probably all it is. Heh. But now that we're thankfully down to just the Earth Crystal, it's pretty much, it's easy sailing from here on out. The Earth Crystal can still use moves like Boulder or something, but the fact that they don't have enough turns to stack on top of each other outside of our turns means we're gonna have a much easier time just finishing these guys off. Earth Crystal's done. That just leaves Culex himself with his 4,000 something weird amount of HP. He doesn't have any particular weaknesses that I know of or anything. No, he doesn't have any weaknesses. And he's immune to all status effects, because of course he is. All in all, very cool fight, and it's very cool that they managed to use the Final Fantasy aesthetic here, because the Final Fantasy games on the Super Nintendo, of course, when all the enemies had very hyper-detailed sprites that, although they were hyper-detailed, that means that they couldn't really move, so it was just kind of a static image. It's kind of funny how they work around that with just kind of a floating picture, and it's so obviously Final Fantasy, despite the fact that he doesn't actually appear in any Final Fantasy. It's just really cool how that works. And here we have to deal with the Shredder, which, again, waste of your moves, Culex. If we had Gino here, maybe it would be annoying. Frying Pan? I think it's time for a Frying Pan. 242, no big deal. You can just kind of go all out with physical attacks, and I would say that's probably a smart idea here, aside from keeping yourself healed when you need to, just because it's faster. It's just faster. The animations are faster. It'll make the fight go faster, even if special attacks, some of them might be a little stronger. So we're just gonna hit him until he's dead. And he's gonna hit us too. His physical attack is the hardest to block in the game, just because of how goddamn fast it is. It's really fast. I mean, you saw it for yourself. You don't need me to tell you. But we should be coming up on the end of the fight here really soon. I mean, he's been taking a lot of damage from the hit-all moves as it is, and now that he's just getting the full brunt of every attack just focused directly on him, he's not going to last much longer, and like the crystals, he too can run out of FP, and then try to use special attacks, and then not be able to use them because he's run out of FP. If you do want to fight this guy earlier, he does give you a ton of experience, and he does give you an accessory that's actually extremely powerful, but... And with a very anticlimactic pop, we get the Final Fantasy victory music, which is really awesome. 244 experience, very nice. And that is that.
Ah, your spirit is strong. Thank you, brave knight. I will treasure this memento of my journey here. Perhaps in another time, another game, we may have been mortal enemies. Let us part as comrades in arms. Take this. Treasure it as a keepsake of our fight.
We get the Quartz Charm.
Farewell, champion knight.
And off he goes to the main theme of the Final Fantasy series, so that's night. The door disappears, and that is the end of the Culex fight. Let's take a look at that Quartz Charm. Looking at it, it doesn't really seem to do very much. In fact, it seems to be kind of anti-beneficial, but the Quartz Charm actually has a bunch of very special hidden effects. It says Shining Source of Power, which doesn't really tell you what it does. What the Quartz Charm actually does is it gives you a permanent offense and defense up by 50%. So it's like you always have Geno Boost effective, which also affects items like the rock candy and the egg, the star egg, so they always do 50% more damage. In addition to that, it also gives you immunity to instant death attacks, so definitely a very, very powerful item to get from this fight, but it's not game breaking, so it's definitely fair. And I think that's pretty much all there is. That is everything and all of it. That was the Culex fight, and that is truly the end of Super Mario RPG. So yeah, thank you for watching, and in the next one, we are going to be starting a new LP, and that's actually going to be a while from now, so please be patient with me, and I hope to see somebody in the next one. Bye-bye!